Coming up this weekend. Well, Gabriel Nadales, regional field coordinator for the Leadership Institute and former Antifa member, joins us now to react. First of all, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, you were a former member of this group. Kind of bring us into their mindset.
So when I first joined Antifa back in 2010, before I was even 18, the idea was to fight fascists and to fight Nazis. Unfortunately, what Antifa is today and what I eventually realized is that they're not willing to fight fascists. They're willing to fight anybody who supports the First Amendment or anybody who stands in their way.
What do they stand for?
It really differs from person to person, but for the most part, a lot of them are anarchists or they're socialists. Personally, I used to be an anarchist, but there's a lot of shades of red in Antifa.
Why the violence?
Because they have no way of arguing. There's a book by Mark Bray. He's a professor at Dartmouth University. It's Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, where it calls for violence against anybody that they claim is fascist, just because they see themselves as the resistance or violent revolutionaries trying to cause or trying to fight for freedom, as they see it. But ultimately, it's just a gang.
You said that you were a part of this organization when you were, what, 18. Did you participate in any of these violent clashes?
Fortunately, I never hurt anyone, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that I did back then, a lot of vandalism, and it's this mob mentality. A lot of people go into these rallies not necessarily thinking that they're going to hurt somebody, but then they come in, and all of a sudden, you're in the moment, and this mob mentality, and you start doing things that you otherwise wouldn't notice. As a matter of fact, if you notice in that video, multiple people attack Andy. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the people who attacked Andy didn't even know who he was. They just saw one of their members attack him, and then they just piled on and started attacking him just because somebody attacked him. So
let's talk about what's coming up this weekend. There's an allegation, and we can bring this up, a screenshot of this Telegram threats that were made, and it says basically, in essence, that there's going to be an acid attack at this free speech rally in Washington, D.C.
We need to arrest that person. We need to arrest him for conspiracy to attack somebody. It's an incredible problem. And if we really want to look at the problem of Antifa, we have to go into the college campuses. At the Leadership Institute's campus reform, we see anti-conservative bias all the time. Just recently, a group that's affiliated with Antifa threatened to dox conservatives or just any student who dare join Turning Point USA or any other conservative group on campus. It goes much more than just brawls in the street. There's extremist professors who are feeding this mentality into their students. And
that's what you do now. You're speaking on college campuses. Why did you leave Antifa? What made you change?
It's really simple. I started talking to members of Antifa, and I realized that every time I talked to them and I raised an objection about the things that we were doing, they told me to shut up or get out. Meanwhile, when I was talking to conservatives, they were very understanding, and even though we disagreed at the time, they were always willing to just engage me in conversation. That's something that Antifa and the left seriously lacks.
All right, Gabriel Nadales, thank you so much for joining us. I could talk to you longer, but we're out of time. Really appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me.
All right.